Good morning, everyone, and Happy New Year's. I am August Vernon, the Director of the Winston-Salem Forsyth County Office of Emergency Management. On behalf of the public safety agencies, I would like to welcome everyone to the first City of Winston-Salem Public Safety News Conference of 2019. I would also like to welcome Councilmember Larson to today's briefing. For this month, the Office of Emergency Management will go first, followed by the Winston-Salem Police Department, and then the Winston-Salem Fire Department. First, I wanted to briefly speak about what was not on the agenda, which is the potential for winter weather this weekend. There will be a chance of measurable wintry precipitation late Saturday through Sunday over Forsyth County and the Triad. There is still a lot of uncertainty that exists on the exact storm track and precipitation types, so it is too early to predict specific wintry precipitation amounts. So the question is, what should we do now? The answer is, let's stay tuned to updates. We still have several days to go until we get specifics on how the winter weather will look like. Also, as always, we encourage the public to prepare now for any type of weather event that could impact our community. This means continuing to monitor the weather and the news for updates and preparing a 72-hour preparedness kit for you and your family. For additional information on preparedness information, please visit readyforsyth.org and Ready Forsyth social media. Are there any questions about the winter weather event? We are still in a wait and see with what's going to occur this weekend. The one item on the agenda that I did want to briefly speak about today is our Federal Emergency Management Terrorism Grant. As a reminder, Winston-Salem was awarded a $1.87 million national regional grant from the Federal Emergency Management Agency in 2017. This was to develop, implement, and practice a sustainable regional approach for responding to a coordinated terrorism attack. The competitive grant for $1.87 million was among 29 grants totaling $35 million to state, regional, and local governments under the program to prepare communities for complex coordinated terrorism attacks. The interesting notes about the grant was Winston-Salem was the 5th largest grant overall and the largest awarded to a local government. So we're very fortunate to have that opportunity. Public safety officials will be using the grant to address gaps in our regional public safety resources for responding to these type of incidents, which do include active shooter incidents. This grant will allow Winston-Salem and Forsyth County to take our already existing planning to an even higher level. Our approach to this grant will be cross-jurisdictional, multidisciplinary, and whole community. Emergency management and public safety officials are eager to begin the planning process that will advance public safety across the Triad. This grant will address 3 primary areas. That will be planning, training, and exercises. This approach will include our surrounding counties and communities and local partners. We did just complete several months of assessments and surveys that will show us the best ways to spend our grant funding wisely. There will be more updates over the next 16 months as we go through this process, and there will be opportunities for the media to be invited to some of the exercises that we will do so you can see what we're doing with the funding. So again, we just want to remind you that the grant is taking place and we've begun that process and we'll be working through that all the way into August of 2020. So thank you, and please let me know if you have any questions about the grant. If not, please let me invite Chief Katrina Thompson with the Winston-Salem Police Department up now.
Thank you, August. Good morning. I'm Police Chief Katrina Thompson, and on behalf of the women and men of the Winston-Salem Police Department, I too would like to welcome you to the January 2019 Public Safety News Conference. Please join me in honoring our fallen officers for the month of January who's paid the ultimate sacrifice. Police Officer Donald W. Allred, end of watch, Monday, January 3rd, 1993. On December 30th, 1992, Officer Donald Allred succumbed to injuries received 4 days earlier when he was struck by a truck while investigating an automobile accident. Police Officer Robert Butrego. End of watch, January 15th, 1994. On January 15th, 1994, Officer Robert Butrego was shot and killed while attempting to stop a robber at a local grocery store where he was shopping while off duty. The suspect was later apprehended and sentenced to death. Officer Butrego had served the Winston-Salem Police Department for only 6 months. He was 23 years old. Police Officer Michael Ray Jennings. End of watch, January 26, 1993. On January 26, 1993, Officer Michael Jennings was killed when his car slid into a tree and burst into flames as he was driving down a steep hill. His partner was injured in the accident but did survive. I ask that you please join me now for a moment of silence as we remember Officers Allred, Butrego, and Jennings, as well as all the men and women of our country who's paid the ultimate sacrifice. Thank you. I would like to personally take this time to thank the women and men of the Winston-Salem Police Department for their relentless sacrifice and service to the members of our community. Your work does not go unnoticed. Our upcoming events include our first 2019 Tea Time Party for Women. It will be held on January 10th at First Baptist Church, located at 700 Highland Avenue. We're proud to inform you that Recruit Class 74 will begin on Monday, February 25th, 2019. The 2019 Citizens Police Academy begins on April 4th. Any questions regarding the Police Academy, the Citizens Police Academy, should be directed to Officer Claudia Morgan. Her number is 336-408-8126. Again, that's 336-408-8126. Next from the police department, you'll hear from Lieutenant A.J. Santos to provide you information about an active missing person. He will be followed by Investigator Stephen Horsley, who will provide you an update on our auto break-ins. Lieutenant Santos.
Thank you, Chief. Good morning. Again, my name is Lieutenant Santos. I'm the District 2 Field Commander. Today I'd like to talk about and seek assistance in an ongoing case involving the disappearance of Miss Mary Magdalene Smith. The Winston-Salem Police Department is still actively seeking information regarding the whereabouts of Miss Smith. Miss Smith was reported missing on May 3rd, 2017. She was reported missing from 630 Barbara James Avenue. Miss Smith was last seen on March 1st, 2017 at the Motel 6 located at 3810 North Patterson Avenue. Miss Smith is 63 years old. She's approximately 5 foot and 113 pounds. She was last seen wearing a black jacket, blue jeans, silver hoop earrings, and a silver chain with a letter M pendant. Ms. Smith has no medical or mental issues reported at the time of her disappearance, and WSPD has conducted thorough follow-ups with family, following up on tips and sightings within the past 2 years. Also, the media has also been an asset, conducting numerous inquiries. We feel that this case is important enough to the Smith family and our community to reach out to you one more time to share this information again to prompt any leads to help locate Ms. Smith. Now I would like to play a quick video of when Ms. Smith's family met with the Director of City Media back in September 2017, which was telling her story.
On May 3, 2017, the family of 61-year-old Mary Magdalene Smith reported her missing. Smith, who is known to her friends as Little Mary because she is just 5 feet tall, received a monthly disability check.
We knew something wasn't right because she usually standing by the mailbox when the checks comes every first of the month. And she didn't come. She was nowhere to be found.
Police officers investigating the case determined Miss Smith checked into the Motel 6 on North Patterson Avenue on March 1, 2017. She was last seen when she checked out on March 9th.
They did have information of her checking out. So we do know that she did check in, she did check out, and she did take her belongings with her.
Police immediately issued a missing persons report, and the case has remained in the headlines since then. Acting on one tip, police conducted a grid-by-grid search of a vacant lot near the hotel, but no trace was found of Miss Smith. Other tips have also been dead ends.
Some of the tips that we have received have told us that Mary Smith was seen in the area of East Winston. However, as of this point, none of those tips have panned out. It seems that we have a young lady who very much resembles Mary Smith and has been approached several times by police officers and has been identified as not being Mary Smith.
Further frustrating their efforts, the Motel 6 was sold and the room Miss Smith rented was renovated before she was reported missing, eliminating the possibility of finding forensics evidence in her room. Likewise, the old security videos were discarded.
We understand that whoever may have been staying at the hotel during the time Mary Smith was here could have seen her coming or going, possibly saw her with someone at some point during their stay. We would like for anyone who was here during that time frame to call us and give us whatever piece of information they have. No amount of information is too small, and you never know what piece of information might be the piece we are waiting on.
So all who's watching us, we're asking you all to please come forward. If you know anything, we're begging you all, please come forward, because we know she knew a lot of people and a lot of people knew her. So if anybody know anything, please contact the Winston-Salem Police Department.
If you saw Mary Smith at the hotel or have any other information about her whereabouts, please call Winston-Salem Police Department at 336-773-7700 or call Crime Stoppers at 336-727-2800. You do not have to give your name.
Ms. Smith, again, please ask to call Winston-Salem Police Department 336-773-7700 or our Crime Stoppers at 336-727-2800. Have any questions? Thank you for your time. At this point in time, I'd like to introduce our District 3 investigator, Stephen Horsley, who's going to discuss recent auto break-ins within the city.
Good morning. Again, I'm Investigator Stephen Horsley, the District 3 investigator for the Winston-Salem Police Department. And before I begin, I want to begin with this video showing what we will be talking about today. This video was recorded from security cameras that were taken from a home in the area of Tantalon Place and Brook Hill Drive on the west side of the city. As you can see, these two gentlemen went into the unlocked vehicle and were rummaging through. While conducting their theft of the vehicle, or contents inside the vehicle, they attempted to go into the vehicles in the parking lot with it. Those were locked and they bypassed those. As you can see by that vehicle, or excuse me, that video, that vehicle was completely searched. And they left the area probably within about 50 seconds of arriving. It doesn't start when they first arrive, but they only arrive about 3 or 4 seconds before when they discover the door unlocked. This brings me to the point, again, of locking your doors. These are crimes of opportunity, as you can tell by the video, in which the unlocked vehicle was the one that became the victim. They were able to get through, rummage, take in valuable items out of said vehicles. To prevent yourself from being a victim of a crime of opportunity, we've been utilizing the 9 p.m. hashtag 9 p.m. routine. The 9 p.m. routine is a simple thought or device that you can use in which, before you go home for the night, no matter what time of the day, you lock your vehicles, you take all your valuables out. This includes change, computers, phones, firearms, any type of valuable, including your spare keys. Some folks like to leave a valet key in there. Please don't leave the valet keys in there, because that's a quick way, if you leave your door unlocked, to lose your vehicle as well. If you are having to secure things in your vehicle, secure them in the trunk and make sure that your trunk is disabled. Some vehicles will allow you to disable the trunk. Also, as it's wintertime, we also want to remind folks not to leave your vehicle running unoccupied. Just because it comes out, if you don't have a remote start that allows it to work without having a key in the vehicle, running out, leaving it for even more than 30 seconds is a good way to get your vehicle stolen and again become a crime of opportunity. Now, the good news is that as of yesterday, a press release was done. We did actually arrest 3 individuals. This is an ongoing case, and a press release was sent, so that is the details that will be released. But we did arrest 3 individuals who broke into approximately 35 vehicles between us and the county. There were 24 here and 11 in the county on Darwick Road, out Ebert, going towards Davidson County. And every one of those vehicles were unlocked. There was a firearm stolen, which was recovered with the efforts of the police department as well as the sheriff's office, as well as there were multiple vehicles that were attempted in that incident yesterday, in which they weren't victims because they went ahead and they passed them by when they couldn't get into the vehicle. So again, what we'd like to reiterate today very briefly is please lock your doors, help us prevent these crimes of opportunity, because it will cut tremendously down on not being a victim of a type of crime like this. Are there any questions? All right, if there are no further questions, I'd like to call up Chief Mayo of the Winston-Salem Fire Department.
Good morning, I'm Trey Mayo, I'm the fire chief of the city, and am happy to say that mercifully we did not have any line of duty deaths to reflect upon for the month of January. Our presentation will be relatively short this morning. Fire and life safety educator Sabrina Stowe was going to talk about home heating safety, carbon monoxide poisoning, and give some updates on cooking fires, stats, and cooking fire safety. And I was once told that a fire chief never saw a mic he didn't like, so I'm gonna give you a little chemistry lesson this morning related to carbon monoxide before Sabrina comes up. And people don't understand the dangers and how susceptible they are to carbon monoxide poisoning. So if you have a gas stove, gas heat, and that could be natural or LP, natural gas or LP, or if you have appliances that are fueled by fuel oil or kerosene, dryers, water heaters, any sort of appliance like that that's burning fossil fuels, they are capable of producing carbon monoxide. And the danger of carbon monoxide is it is referred to as a chemical asphyxiant as opposed to a simple asphyxiant. So carbon dioxide or nitrogen or methane or any of those things, if we fill this room up with it, well, it just displaces the air that we would ordinarily breathe. That's a simple asphyxiant. But a chemical asphyxiant, the danger, what makes CO's carbon monoxide so dangerous is it bonds to your red blood cells about 100 times more readily than oxygen does. So as you breathe in carbon monoxide, it takes the place of where oxygen would bond to your red blood cells, and after time, your blood cannot carry any oxygen to your cells because all those cells are tied up transporting carbon monoxide through your body. And then the carbon monoxide does not release from the red blood cell like an oxygen molecule would. So I just wanted to take a minute to try to stress to you just how dangerous carbon monoxide is as a gaseous compound. And I'll now turn it over to Sabrina.
Good morning. As Chief Mayo said, we're going to just talk about a few things. A lot of these we've talked about before, but we do want to reiterate so many of these, especially with the temperatures lowering again, and people are going to be resorting to a lot of home heating measures. Just want to talk about a few things with the home heating. I'm not going to read everything to you on the screen. Like to point out mostly space heaters because that's a lot of times that's the source that people are going to use. You want to make sure that you're choosing a space heater that has a thermostat and the overheat protection, as well as that automatic shutoff feature in the event that it tips over. Also, you want to make sure that you're keeping those space heaters at least 3 feet away from anything that can burn. That's going to be your furniture, your curtains, people, pets, and that kind of thing. So you want to make sure that you're doing that, as well as keeping those space heaters in a place where it's not going to create a tripping hazard, that it's not going to block an exit, things of that nature. Also want to make sure that if you're using something that has a fuel source, such as a kerosene heater, that you're using the right type of fuel. There have been some incidents in the past where people have accidentally put gasoline in those type heaters, and of course that creates a huge problem. Also, if you're going to be using fireplaces or wood stoves, you want to make sure that those are being checked out each year before, preferably before you use them for the season. You want to make sure that those are being checked out by a professional, and by professional it does not mean the fire department's going to come and check your fireplace. You're going to have to call a professional for that. The other main thing there is when you're going to be using those type sources, to make sure that when you're taking the ashes out of the fireplaces, that you cool them off before you dispose of them. You want to put them in a covered metal container and store those at least 10 feet away from the home, because you don't want those to reignite and have those close to your home. Definitely want to make sure that you have the carbon monoxide alarms in your home if you're using those types of heat sources as well. As Chief Mayo talked about, these are just some of the things that are being used in the home that are going to create carbon monoxide or potentially create a carbon monoxide danger. One of the ones I want to point out that we don't talk about a lot is operating grills indoors. A lot of people don't think of that as being a source that's going to create a CO danger, but we do have that happen sometimes, mainly in areas where they may not be aware that that's something that you shouldn't do. And these are just some symptoms of carbon monoxide poisoning you just want to be aware of. The headaches, nausea, dizziness is going to be some of the most things that you're going to see. Some of the ones that are harder to detect, including the headaches and nausea, mental confusion. A lot of people mentioned flu-like symptoms. So if you're, get a sudden onset of these symptoms in the home and you have fireplace burning or something like that, and you don't have a carbon monoxide detector, these are just going to be some symptoms that you may want to be aware of. In the event that you have any of those symptoms, you want to get out of the home, get into some fresh air, and call 911. Protecting yourself against the carbon monoxide, of course, you want to make sure that you have carbon monoxide alarms in your home. Again, you want to get out of the home, call 911. We do have some carbon monoxide alarms for people in the city that need those. If you do need a carbon monoxide alarm, please give our office a call at 336-773-7965. Just want to give a little bit of updates. We do talk a lot about cooking fires because it's just the #1 problem for not only the Winston-Salem area, but all across the country. Just wanted to give you a statistical graphing here of what we've seen in the last few years. We do have a bit of a decrease from the 2017 year to 2018. We don't want that to, I mean, as much as we are pleased about those numbers coming down, that number's not zero. We want that number to be zero. So we want to definitely keep this out on the forefront, that cooking fires are still a problem. We like to believe that we're getting that message out and we're getting that word out, and that's why these numbers are coming down, but we want these numbers to be zero. And just some other information about cooking fires and how often we're responding to those across the country. And of course, the contributing factors, the main one is going to be leaving cooking unattended. That's going to be the main source of having fires in the kitchen. People are putting things on the stove and they're leaving the kitchen area. It only takes, a few seconds for something to happen. So if you're there in the kitchen, you can definitely prevent that. Again, just never leave the cooking unattended. Making sure that you're also being careful when you are in the kitchen, just as with the space heaters. You want to adhere to certain other rules of the kitchen, making sure that when you have children in there, that you're keeping them away from the stoves and other items that are hot and can cause a burn hazard for children and pets. Also a good idea to install the stovetop fire stop canisters that we talk about a lot. We do still have those available for residents who need those. They can also give our office a call. If you want to keep a fire extinguisher in your kitchen, we would also encourage you to make sure you know how to use it. Having it is great, but if you don't know how to use it, that's going to be a problem for you as well. We do have courses in that where we can come out and teach you how to use the fire extinguishers. You can also give our office a call for that information. Are there any questions? Yes, sir.
Could you comment on how many carbon monoxide sensors in normal homes you have? Is it a single unit, or are they dispersed throughout the house?
Okay. And the question is how many carbon monoxide detectors or alarms that you should have in your home. It's going to depend on where the sources of the carbon monoxide may come from. There probably should be one on each level of the home is just kind of the general answer. Where you put that or locate it in your home could depend on where the sources are. If it's a hot water heater, or which in my case is in the garage of the home, I have one closer to that area, and then I'm going to have one on each level of the home, inside of the home as well.
One last question regarding fire extinguishers.
Mm-hmm.
Could you make a recommendation on the type of fire extinguisher that would be appropriate for domestic use in a home?
Okay. The question is about fire extinguishers and what type you should use in a residential area. There are so many. We don't recommend a brand type. But we do make sure, or we do recommend that if you're going to have one, that it's going to be usable for you, because there are going to be a lot of different sizes. They're going to be, weighted differently. There are going to be ones that are rechargeable. They're going to be one-time use. We talk about that when we do our fire extinguisher training, and we, let people hold those extinguishers to see what's going to actually be best for you. And you want to make sure that you're going to be using one that's going to be applicable to the types of fires that you would normally have in the home. But generally in your home improvement stores, they're going to sell ones that are going to be for best use for the homes. Any other questions? Okay, if not, we'll turn it back over to August Vernon.
Thank you again to all our speakers. Are there any other questions for any of the speakers? If not, thank you for participating in today's Public Safety News Conference. The next news conference will be February 13th, 2019 at 10 a.m. Thank you.